Hey everyone, and welcome. So, if you're a student or a parent who is neck deep in the college search, I'm willing to bet the University of Michigan has come up a lot. Today, we are diving deep into this absolute giant of a university. We're going to break down the official numbers, what the campus is really like, and what happens after graduation, all to help you figure out if being a Wolverine is the right call. All right, let's just get right to it. The huge question that's on everyone's mind. We all know Michigan is a public Ivy, right? It's got a world-class reputation. But when that price tag for out-of-state students starts to look a lot like some of the most expensive private schools in the country, you really have to ask, is it actually worth it? And this is the number that makes families just stop and stare. Almost $85,000 for 1 year. A number like that completely changes the game. It's not just about getting accepted anymore, it's about making a massive financial investment in your future. So to answer that big question, we're not going to rely on opinions or what we've heard. Nope, we've gone straight to the source, digging into the most recent data published by the University of Michigan itself. So everything you're about to see is a no-nonsense, factual breakdown of what you really need to know.
So here's our game plan for today. We'll start with what makes Michigan such a powerhouse. Then, we'll see just how hard it is to actually get in. We'll look at the academics and the most popular majors, break down that huge price tag, explore what life is like on campus, and finally, we'll analyze the return on investment to see what kind of payoff you can really expect. Let's get into it. First things first, let's just set the stage a little. What does it even mean to be a public Ivy powerhouse? Well, for Michigan, it really boils down to its incredible reputation, its massive scale, and its one-of-a-kind location. You'll find it in Ann Arbor, which is pretty much the definition of a vibrant college town. And Michigan is a huge institution. We're talking over 34,000 undergrads. Now, that size means you get all the resources of a major research university and a ton of energy on campus. But it's also something to keep in mind. It is a very, very big place. So with 34,000 students, how tough is it to actually land one of those spots? Let's take a look at the admissions data to find out. And spoiler alert, it is extremely competitive. Just look at this. The academic profile of a student who gets into Michigan is, well, pretty incredible. The average high school GPA for an incoming freshman is a 3.9. So what does that mean for you if you're applying? It means they expect you to be performing consistently at the very, very top of your class. And, it's the same story when you look at the test scores. The middle 50% of students, so the bulk of the class, are scoring between a 1360 and a 1530 on the SAT. On the ACT, that's a 31 to a 34. What's really telling here is the bottom number. To even be in the running, you need scores that are already in the top tier nationwide. This chart really just says it all, doesn't it? A whopping 92.8% of students who enrolled had a high school GPA of 3.75 or higher. And get this, almost 40% of the incoming class had a perfect 4.0. The takeaway here is crystal clear. At Michigan, top-tier grades aren't just a suggestion, they're the standard. Okay, so we've established that getting in is tough, but let's say you do get in. What's the education actually like? What will you be learning as a student at Michigan? At its core, the undergraduate experience, especially in LSA, which is the biggest college at the university, is built on a strong liberal arts foundation. This basically means that every student, no matter their major, takes courses across a whole range of subjects, from the natural sciences to the humanities. It's all about building a broad, well-rounded intellectual toolkit before you zero in on a specialty. And where do students tend to specialize? Well, this gives us a pretty good idea. It's no surprise to see in-demand fields like computer science and engineering right up there at the top. But you also see these powerhouse programs in biology and psychology, which really just shows the university's deep research strengths across the board. Now, picking a major is, of course, tied to what you want to do for a career. And, let's be honest, paying for college. That's a huge piece of this puzzle. So before we get into the specifics of Michigan's costs, if you want personalized help saving $40,000 or more on college costs, check the link in the description to learn about our College Savings Mentor program. Okay, here we are, the section I know everyone's been waiting for. Let's break down that $85,000 figure and look at what it actually costs, line by line, to go to Michigan.
Wow, the difference in just tuition is pretty dramatic. If you're a Michigan resident, tuition is just under $18,000. But if you're coming from out of state, that number just explodes to over $63,000. This is by far the biggest reason for that massive price difference you hear about.
But of course, tuition is only part of the bill. When you add in things like fees, room and board, books, and other expenses, you get the full cost of attendance. For an in-state student, you're looking at about $38,500. And for an out-of-state student, yep, there it is again, $84,164. This table gives you the whole transparent picture of what 1 year at Michigan is really going to cost.
All right, enough about the numbers for a minute. Beyond the classrooms and the cost, what is it actually like to be a student in Ann Arbor? Let's talk about campus life, the community, and the traditions that make the Wolverine experience what it is. Honestly, Michigan offers the quintessential big school experience. There's just a ton of energy here. You've got all kinds of housing, from your classic dorms to these really cool living learning communities built around a shared interest. But the real story is the sheer number of things to do. There are over 1,600 student clubs. Seriously, no matter what you're into, you will find your people here. And of course, you can't talk about life at Michigan without mentioning the incredible school spirit, especially on a football Saturday at the Big House. It's just electric. And that brings us to our final and maybe most important section. We've seen the cost, now let's talk about the payoff. We're going right back to that first question. Is the massive investment in a Michigan degree actually worth it in the end?
To get a real sense of the power of a Michigan degree on the job market, we're going to look at a specific case study from one of the university's own reports. Now, it is really important to know this data is for a master's program, so the salaries might be a bit higher than for a brand new undergrad, but it gives us a fantastic, concrete look at the types of companies that recruit heavily at Michigan and the doors that can open with a degree from here.
And the numbers are definitely impressive. An 87% employment rate with an average salary of $84,000. If you go into the tech industry, that average salary jumps to over $100,000. But the most telling part to me, look at the top hiring companies: Google, Cisco, Deloitte, JP Morgan Chase. This right here shows the power of the Michigan brand and network. These are the kinds of doors a degree from here can open for you.
But it's not all about the money. When they asked graduates what the biggest impact of their degree was, the most common answer was this: it helped them discover new career opportunities. That really speaks to how a great education can be transformative. It doesn't just train you for a job, it opens up whole new pathways you might never have even considered.
So, let's bring it all together. Is Michigan the right fit for you? The pros are pretty obvious. You get a world-class education, a powerful global alumni network, and that incredible big school spirit. The cons are just as clear. That out-of-state cost is a huge hurdle. The campus and classes are large, and it is a highly competitive environment from the day you step on campus. In the end, it really comes down to weighing these factors for yourself and your family.
We really hope this data-driven breakdown helps you make a more informed decision. And as you're weighing those financial factors, just remember that there is help out there. Before you go, check the description for a link to our College Savings Mentor program, where we help families save $40,000 or more on college costs.
Thank you so much for watching today. If you're trying to compare Michigan to other top schools, you might want to check out our deep dive on UVA next. You can find that one and a whole lot more on our channel. We'll see you in the next one.